All right, it's Paulie Wizard here with What Do You Collect? We got some great guests here today. We're going to talk sports. We're going to talk trading cards. We're going to talk digital. We're talking everything sports and collectibles. So here we go. Firing it away here with John Newman and Scotty. John Newman of the Sports Card Nation podcast. How you doing today? How we feeling, fellas?
I'm feeling good. We got two New York guys and a Mass guy. So he's
Well,
outnumbered.
I'm from Seattle, but we were talking pizza earlier, and
all right. I thought you were from.
yeah, no.
Good, then he's not outnumbered.
This is how you know it's good pizza because I'm not from there, and I still say Regina's Pizza on the north end of Boston, best pizza ever had.
Oh, nice! Yeah. Look at this. Yeah, you have one good slice of pizza, and that's it. It stays with you forever. It's like a fragrance. You get that one smell. That's it. You remember it for the rest of your life.
It was 2003. That's the last time I had it, so I can tell you it stays with you forever.
Oh, that's something. All right, so we all know here, if you have any pizza questions, make sure you post it in the comments. We're here to answer those as well. We're big fans and big fans of sports. So we're talking collectibles here today, guys. For What Do You Collect? We want to break into your collections. We want to hear what you have. We want to hear what the stories are behind it and hear how you all got started. What brought you into collecting? Scotty, what brought you into collecting? What's the thing that said, you know what, the first time in your life you said, I got to have this. I got to complete this set. I got to have every little piece of whatever this is that I want to put in my collection.
Yeah, I'm going to go way, way back to when I was like 8 or 9 years old. An uncle gave me some of those like fold out cardboard coin collecting books where you could collect nickels according to years or so on. I would plug those things in, right? And I had nickels, I had quarters, and the idea of like the history and then like the search for like the dates was just so compelling right up until the ice cream truck came through the neighborhood and I heard the little and I popped all those nickels out, and went and got some ice cream. And then like a few years later, I realized that I was so regretful. And that's about the time I started collecting comic books. So I was 10 or 11 when I bought my first comic. I have about the first Wolverine, when Wolverine was brand new, and I collected all the Wolverines up for, until 200 issues or whatever, and went back and was filling in, and I still have all my original comic books from back when I was 10. And then most recently, I've got a little bit of cardboard. I know that John here is gonna tell us, and I'm going to learn a ton about cardboard, but I've been super heavy into the digital space with Dapper Labs, NBA Top Shot, NFL All Day. I do Disney Pinnacle for those that want to talk about the Disney parks and the pin collecting. And then I also do a lot with like Panini, and I've even done like the courtyard vending machine stuff. So John, we can probably talk about that at some point because that's a blend between physical and digital. So anyways, that's where I've gotten from.
That's awesome. That's some great stuff. I know getting started with coins, starting with that just kind of starts you on the right foot, I think, as a kid. And it's great to, there are all the stories and, what you learn behind it. But definitely some awesome collectibles there that, we're going to tap into. And John, and what started you off? Was it coins or was it dollars or what was it? What was it that started you on your collecting?
No, I wasn't a coin kid. It, like Scotty said, it started early age, growing up in Brooklyn. I was a sports kid and Yankee fan at the time. I'm now a Mets fan. Thurman Munson was my guy. But it was, my grandfather took me to the corner store. And I was a sports kid. I knew about cards. I remember getting the Jaws movie cards were like the first cards I actually had. I didn't even get a pack. It's just some friends just gave me some extras. I'm like, hey, here's from that new movie, Jaws. How crazy is that? This new movie, Jaws, and it's 40 years ago, right? And my grandfather took me to the corner store, not to get cards, but to pick up a few things for the house. And we went to check out, and I look up at the counter, which was taller than me, but I could see up there. And right near the register was some 1979 Topps packs. I was baseball. I was 7 years old, and I was already a Yankee fan, but I had never saw cards of baseball yet. And I asked my grandfather, "Are those baseball cards?" And he goes, "Yeah, they're Topps packs. Would you like a couple?" And so whenever a grandfather asks a grandson if he would like anything, the answer is always yes. It don't matter if it's candy, food, and in this case, packs of baseball cards. And he bought me 3 packs. And the first pack I opened, like I said, I was a Thurman Munson kid, but at that point he had passed away already. That's actually that's a longer story, but that's how I learned what death actually was through Thurman's untimely passing. But the first pack out of those 3 I opened, the 4th or 5th card in was Reggie Jackson. And if you're from New York and at that time, he could have ran for mayor without any and won. He was the king in New York, and I didn't love him, but as a Yankee fan, I knew his importance to baseball and to the Yankees, and so pulling that out of the first pack, I was hooked, and here we are, 45 years later, and I'm still doing it, and just crazy to think, and it's not an expensive car. I don't have the original Reggie that I pulled, but it's over there on that wall. I have that Reggie, graded. I think it's a 7 or 8. And I look at it and it just reminds me kind of, no matter where I'm at today, I look at that card and it reminds me where it all started. You know what I mean? You got to start somewhere. So
it's great. I mean, those original packs. I mean, did that come with gum? Did it? Was that
it did?
Oh, yeah.
The dust.
Awesome.
Well, here's the thing, Paulie. I got my cavities, but I got them from soda rather than the gum. So what I would do is trade my buddies. They wanted the gum. They cared more about the gum than the cards. I cared more about the cards than the gum. So I would trade my sticks of gum to get as many of their cards as I could. So I amassed quite a big card collection. They got cavities thanks to me. I still got my own cavities, but I did it through. I was a big soda kid before we knew what it could really do to your body and your teeth, and so I got my kid cavities through soda, but I amassed a big stack of cards very quick.
I'm surprised they haven't brought it back, though. Honestly, think of all the years. I mean, it would be something if someone sponsored, like a food company sponsored something. There should be redemptions inside. I mean, it would be something. You get a little burger from Friendly's. You can go get a free drink from. Why not? Why any of these inserts? None of them got on the bandwagon today with cards.
They did start putting gum back in there, and because the people were concerned with the value of the cards. Remember, if they actually wrapped them so they didn't contact cards. So they did stuff like that. But those days, gum, there's a negative connotation to it, right? Sugar causes cavities, so they sort of and then Topps did the Bazooka line where it was its own brand too. So
we're still going, I guess, though, the ballpark promotions. That's always something to get people to come out to a game. There's always, hat day or bobblehead day, or I mean, those are also some crazy collectibles. You have people going to games for anything. I mean, Scotty, you been to any games where you said, I'm going just to get this item that they're giving out? Or
I actually, since I'm in the Seattle area, I actually used to go to the Mariners games to get the bobblehead for bobblehead night, for like Ichiro bobblehead night. I actually knew the guys who owned the company who made the bobbleheads, and it was just so cool to see their product in hand. But you were asking, back that same era, I forgot the other one was Garbage Pail Kids. Remember Garbage Pail Kids? That was the first actual card. I was huge into sports at the same time, but not the collecting until later in life. But man, I had those Garbage Pail Kids, and we had a whole cartel of buying and selling and trading as fifth graders.
There was something, but I don't know if you ever saw the movie. If you did, well, you're in for a treat with that one. Make sure it's late night, and make sure you're delusional. Check out the Garbage Pail Kids movie. I don't know if you've seen it, but
I haven't. No.
Oh, it's something. I recommend anybody to take a look. It's definitely a good watch when you're 2 sheets to the wind and almost ready to fall asleep, and that'll keep you up. Trust me.
The thing I remember with the Garbage Pail Kids is whatever series came out. I don't know if you guys did this. You'd always check if they used your name.
Yes.
Smelly John. Yes. So and even if it was what usually wasn't a bad connotation, you still thought it was cool. It could be like Smelly Johnny or
Yeah.
no
Greaser
shower.
Greg. Greaser Greg. He was the one that looked like the Fonz. That was my favorite.
So you always wanted to see if they used your name and what it was and how they used it. And then you tried to get those, you know what I mean? Because they had your name. Well, it might not have been you per se. It still was your name. So your namesake. So you always look for those.
For sure, for sure. But so yeah, I mean, aside from the arena collectibles, what do we got going on nowadays? I mean, we know where you guys all started. What's the thing that you're both hooked on? What are you hooked on right now? We'll start with Scotty. What's something that you're deep diving into and you're on a run to collect?
Yeah, so I've been doing. I mostly do digital collectibles. On occasion, like I've got a whole stack here of Topps Chrome that I got not that long ago. I'll rip while I'm bored, during the daytime. But mostly digital collectibles, mostly basketball, football, NFL all day, and NBA Top Shot. I also collect the Panini version of it for those that like know the Panini brand, like. The digital version of it looks very similar to cardboard.
Pretty much, you'd say for yourself, it's started in the 2001 time.
Yeah, that's right. Actually brought me back to the game of basketball, which is something I'm going to always appreciate Top Shot doing, because I had kind of given up on basketball, moved into football like hardcore, and then and baseball up here in Seattle. We lost our basketball team to OKC, and but Top Shot got me back into watching basketball. Now I watch basketball every single night. Right. I'm really I love the WNBA. And I would love to see the WNBA make this huge leap forward to become a mainstream, sport that everybody knows and talks about. And I think with some of the recent, with Caitlin Clark and others, Paige Beckers now, I think there's an opportunity for that. So I'm collecting a ton of WNBA stuff around the various different communities. And but shoot, man, I even have Australian football, footy. I've got footy collectibles, and I had until they went out of business, I had Australian basketball collectibles, so, I just like to collect. I just like to collect.
That's true. Listen, the digital stuff, I got to say, is in a way you don't have to worry about needing an extra room in your house, taking the stuff out of your wife's room, out of a sewing room, and putting it in the garage. You don't need as much space. Everything fits online. It fits in your pocket. It fits on an iPad. That helps with the digital, I gotta say.
And also, when wife says it's time to get rid of it, like the buying and selling of it digitally is so much easier than having to deal with eBay and and shipping costs or anything like that. So.
Very true. But yeah, with the WNBA too, I think a lot is going in that direction, going in the right direction. You have Angel Reese; she's getting major sponsorships along with Caitlin Clark, like you said. Paige Beck is now going to be joining the league. With Reebok, McDonald's, Reese's, she's doing. Angel Reese has all these sponsorships and reaching so many people. It's just the eyes that are getting on the sport is just more and more as the years are going on. So I don't know if that translated on the physical side. John, I don't know if you've seen an influx at all with the.
Yeah. I mean, it's on the come up. I think with the recent draft classes, Caitlin's the Taylor Swift of women's basketball. Angel Reese, you mentioned. Now with Beckers, this will be her rookie year. In the NBA, it's still the NBA, but they've struggled in the last few years. So people have sort of turned to what's hot, right? And if you're a basketball fan, the WNBA is made big strides, especially in the last 3 to 5 years. And I don't have the numbers in front of me, Pauline, Scotty, but if you look at a graph, it's going up and to the right. So they're moving in the right direction, and as long as they keep, Caitlin's going to play, I mean, it'll be her call, but 10, 15 years, and same thing with if they got a great nucleus of young players that for the next 10 to 15 years, plus more coming behind, and so I think they're set up well for the future. And I have a friend of mine that was an NBA guy who's sort of fallen out of love with the NBA and in love with the WNBA. And he's not the only one.
In my opinion, I don't know what you guys think. It's like the obviously with the WNBA, you have a lot of new stars, and kind of like everything. I think like basketball is kind of, you look at the arcs of your favorite players, it's kind of, we have a lot of good young talent coming up now, but maybe they haven't fully blossomed yet to take over like the older players' role. So you have, LeBron hitting 20 years in the league. Steph Curry's been playing a while. Lillard has been playing a while. It's kind of, you've seen them all win their championships already. And, in my opinion, I think maybe it's just that you've seen the same guys. So it's until the new prospects where you have Wemby, you have Shai Gilgeous with the OKC. Once they start winning their championships and that starts coming up, maybe NBA will take another wave, hit another cycle of them, because it seems to me where it's like a lot of the great players that have won their championships, they're still there. And then, we want to see them for those that are, they're from your town, but nationally, I don't know if that they're still having that impact as to when they were brand new. It's like, you're by the 50th year of leasing your car, you're ready to return it. You're saying, oh, well, how long do I got this thing for? When do I got to send it back? It's working, it's doing good for you. But by that 50th year, you're like, oh, how many more weeks do I have of this thing? It's kind of, I don't know if it's getting to that point where now the new wave has to come turn over, and maybe in a year or two when you start seeing the young ones out there, maybe the sport will, take another wave up,
That's a great point. John, I got a question for you, because you're
Sure.
You may be a professional sports card collector, if that's the Sports Card Nation, or I don't know if that's a hobby, podcast, or what, but what's your time frame for how long you look at collecting in terms of, just, you mentioned 10 to 15 years, and I was just curious because like for some of this, like you said, WNBA is just having its renaissance right now, and some of the young players in the NBA, like what do you think of in terms of timeline before like a good sports collectible can like really take off?
I think, rookie classes drive the hobby, right? They drive not only the hobby, Scotty, but they drive products, right? What people open, they want to pull whoever the hot rookie is. And that's kind of what's hurt, guys. That's kind of what's hurt the NBA the last 3 to 5 years is some of those rookie classes haven't panned out exactly like we initially thought, right? You look at, Ja Morant and Zion Williamson's rookie year, same year, right? One injury prone. Josh shot out like a rocket and was playing very well, and then got in that legal trouble, was suspended. And that star faded a little bit. He's still very good. He can sort of redeem himself. And then we saw some bad classes. And then we have Wemby, who's transcendent player. And then, he didn't get hurt, but he got a blood clot, which put him on the sideline, which, I don't know if you call it, it's an illness more than an injury, but now he's not playing at the moment. He'll be back. And, people, that's the one thing in the hobby, guys, that you'll notice is someone gets hurt and it's like they died. And it's like, he's going to come back. Like they'll panic sell or get rid of everything they got. And sometimes I like, it sounds kind of weird, but sometimes I like that because it's a good buying opportunity, not just for me, but other people who say, you know what, this guy is going to be out for 2 months. His career's not over. So if someone wants to dump him, and I think when he comes back, he's going to be close or the same or better player than he was prior to whatever happened, why not buy him? Because it's you're getting in at on the ground level again. When you've already saw what they could do. We saw what Wemby, using Wemby as kind of the poster boy for this example, we saw what he was doing before he got the blood clots. And while a blood clot is a scary, serious thing that can kill you, his was medically attended to. They got rid of him. He's now just recovering so he can get back the plane. He's, you know what I mean? So you got to err on the side of caution. But he's going to come back, and it's not like a torn ACL where like, oh, after he tore the ACL, he never, he or she never was exactly the same again. This is the kind of thing where I expect him to be just as good as he was prior to, coming down with, getting blood clots and afterwards. And so, it's a great buying opportunity. Yeah, go ahead.
Have you noticed with the Luka trade this season? Did you notice anything? I know as far as, we'll start with Scotty. We'll come back to John on this one. Just want to know what you guys noticed with the digital world. What you notice with the physical world? Had that trade happen and went to the Lakers. And did you see a lot of sell-off with Dallas fans, or what? Did you witness anything on that?
I didn't see on the digital side. I didn't see any sell off on the digital on the Dallas side. I saw this just renewed fervor for Luka moments again on the Lakers side. Anytime it's like, this is his first in this uniform. This is his first time playing Dallas. I want the collectible from that moment of that game, and that for me, I thought it fueled some more, like, first time, like, because for the Top Shot, for those that aren't familiar, it's got the embedded digital file of an actual moment in time. So like the first time that Luka and LeBron are like on the court, people kind of want to collect these special moments in sports history, and it's just almost like this, like, it's not fake, but it's like this fake way of like getting re-excited about something new again, even though Luka's Luka, right?
Yeah, no, that's true. That's true. I noticed the same as far as with like that first moment. When you get a new player on the team, you want to see him in that uniform. So it's like with what's really cool with NBA Top Shot, with the Panini, they could turn over and get those printed pretty quickly. I know they did. It took maybe a matter of a week or two until you could able to get an actual moment, seeing them live on the court, getting a highlight of Luka playing in a Lakers uniform. So it's fun. It's the fun of it when it's like when they just come to your team. I think the influx of obviously the LA fans wanting to get that Luka in their collection in that Lakers jersey, and on the physical side, John, you noticed any on your end? You noticed anything? Was it an influx? Was it a sell-off?
Well, I think Scotty made a great point, right? I think he now has two fan bases that collect them. I think the Dallas Maverick fans, and now as a Laker, obviously Laker fan, you'd love to acquire a player like that and put him alongside LeBron. And here's the difference. Why someone will say, well, why would a Dallas fan still love Luka? Because it wasn't a situation where Luka demanded a trade, or I'm not happy here, trade me, I don't want to be here, right? This shocked him. He was very emotional about it. So the fans know it wasn't a situation where Luka didn't like us anymore, wanted out of here. It was a GM, this one being Nico Harrison, that pulled the trigger on the trade. And he has his reasons. Supposedly Luka didn't work as hard, or didn't, his fitness regimen wasn't what Nico thought it should be. He also was about to come up to his Supermax contract, which they're going to have to give him. The rumor is they didn't, Nico Harrison didn't want to give it to him. So I think the fans probably not liking Nico Harrison, but I think they don't hold it against Luka because he was just as blindsided as almost they were. He kind of found out, in the same, not exactly the same fashion, obviously, but he didn't want out of Dallas. They just shipped him out of Dallas. So I think Luka fans are going to remain Luka fans, even though he's wearing a different jersey. Had that have been a situation, guys, where he was disgruntled, missing games, I don't want to be here, I don't like it here.
Like a Kristaps Porzingis with the Knicks? You mean like one of those?
Yeah.
To think of one random example.
Yeah. This team can't win. Even with me, I want to go to a winner. If it was a situation like that, I think a lot of the Luka fans would have got off that bus and said, good riddance, see you later. But that wasn't the case at all. And I think, people feel bad for him. Even, rather than feel bad for themselves that we don't have this guy on our team anymore, I think they even feel bad for him because they know, like, he didn't want this. Even when you saw him come back to Dallas for the first time as a Laker, he got very emotional. You didn't have to be an NBA fan to know, like, this. He didn't want to leave.
It's a great point too, because we've got this idea like that we collect these things because they have an emotional attachment to us, or because because we all have some level of like OCD that we have to try and I got 99 out of 100. I need the last one just to feel complete. Or because we think that it can make some money for us, from future appreciation. But it's interesting when the sports world now kind of forces some of those dynamics to change. A good example up here in Seattle, I was a huge Russell Wilson fan, huge, the way he came into the league, his whole, why not us, our Super Bowl, right? And then it starts to become this thing where he's not happy and he wants this and he needs this. And then the next thing you know, he's gone, right? And he was literally at the center of that, in my opinion, not being anywhere close to it, but just as a fan. And so I got rid of all my Russell stuff because I'm like, I don't want to support that. I went and loaded up big on Geno Smith. Like I've got probably the most Geno Smith legendary moments on NFL All Day, like of anybody. I love Geno Smith. It wasn't his choice to leave. He wanted to stay here forever. And I love Geno's story and the Jets and how, like coming over. So it's interesting because like I don't want to collect Russell's Seahawks cards just because I don't like his story any longer, even though that means my set completion addiction is going to get busted up, right? I don't know. I just think that's an interesting point you're making, John, about like how the politics and how like the narrative kind of like changes our willingness to want to buy certain cards and hold certain moments.
Yeah, no,
some of that financial too, Sky. Like you invested in people don't like the I word, right? But you are, right? Anything can be an investment. Your time is an investment. Well, in this case, your money is too. And when you don't feel like that player you're investing your time and your money in is sort of reciprocating that back or that loyalty back, you are going to have a sour taste in your mouth or be bitter. And probably rightfully so. So you lose that attachment to them. And then when they move on or the team moves on from them, you're like, hey, I don't even want this anymore. I'm going to sell it or move it to somebody who will appreciate it more because I don't appreciate it like I once did.
I had to find some Broncos fans that were suckers.
Yeah. Hey, now you got some Giants fans who are suckers. So if you got anything left over, he's coming to New York here now. So
we can talk.
Listen, I'm a Steelers fan, even though I'm from New York City. So we had him for the year. And I say like I'm like the owner of the team. But he was in Pittsburgh for a year. He didn't even play that bad, but you kind of touched on it. He's kind of with Sierra, he kind of changed. His personality sort of changed. He became a little more full of himself, if you want to put it that way. You hear some of the quirky stories, the things he did, like doing knee ups and up and down the aisle of the team plane, and just stuff that makes you scratch your head. And I think he became his own worst enemy.
As a Steeler fan, though, I've been hearing some Steeler fans are putting Tomlin on the hot seat. What do you think of that? I know it's there, from what they're saying.
I'll say this, Paulie. I'm not as big a Tomlin fan as probably the average Steeler fan, and he's a solid coach. He's a very good coach, right?
Right.
But what's the NFL, right? Not for long. What's he done in the last 10 years? He hasn't won a playoff game in 9 years. They're 0, I think 6 in that 9-year span of not in the playoffs, of not winning a playoff game. And then and the games that they've lost in the playoffs, guys, they've been run out of the gym. They were over in the first half. And so the way he's lost his playoff games, some of the seasons he didn't make it, for me, he hangs his hat on, never having a losing season. But there's a lot of 9-8s and 10-7s. And I'll tell you, as a Steeler fan, I'll take a 5-12 if going 5-12 means the next season we get to the Super Bowl. And that's, I'm a realistic fan of any team I root for. I don't start the year saying we're going to win the Super Bowl, the World Series, if I really don't think there's a legitimate
You're not a Cowboys fan, right? Because the Cowboys fans.
No, I don't. Yeah, I'm not a Cowboys fan.
Coming this year.
So I look, even this year, like the draft was pretty good. But who's the quarterback right now, right? So I'm not waving my pennant saying, I hope not. I'm going to just put it that way. Nothing against Mason Rudolph, but he's not QB1. He's a guy. He's a backup for a reason, right? So I'm not waving my pennant claiming we're going to the Super Bowl. Would I like to? Sure, as a fan, but I'm a realistic fan. So I'm waving the pennant saying, let's see what happens and let's build. It's probably not going to be this year. So let's do things this year that get us moving in the right direction. And, the whole Aaron Rodgers courting thing, even if they sign Rodgers, right, what's he got left in the tank? He's not the answer long term.
Nope.
He may not be the answer short term. So
Just
they
ask
need
the
to. So they need to build in that window for TJ Watt being a dominant defensive player. That's closing quickly. Cam
Yeah.
Hayward's probably in his last year, so that window is very small. And I'm realistic, but I just, as a fan, you just hope they put the pieces down that sort of get you on the right track, moving back to where you can be hopeful that a championship could be in sight, right? I mean, you like to think everyone, the old saying, right? Every new year, hope comes back, but in some cases you have to be realistic. Like, we're not winning the championship this year, but can we do stuff this year that gets us going in that direction, where maybe the following year or the year even after that, we're saying that again.
It's true. We'll see the new NFL season here. It's like the spring. You think the flowers are going to pop up, but sometimes they're half dead. You don't know. You think it's blooming time, but we'll see. Just want to close out here, guys. It's been a great show. I appreciate all the conversation and time we spent. Before we leave, I'm going to ask you both just what your favorite collectible is and why. So Scotty, you want to start this off? Let us know your one true collectible that if you had to only take one in the spacecraft to the moon, which one are you bringing with you?
Yeah. So in Wemby's rookie year on NBA Top Shot, those got pretty pricey, right? Like even the commons, I think were, a couple $300 or something out of the gate with like the most common version of it. And through the course of that year, commons came out, rares came out, and then his very first legendary moment came out, has a population count of 75. And through a competition where we burned our other digital assets in exchange for this, I ended up winning that burn board in kind of somewhat of an epic fashion, because it came down to me and somebody else at the last minute, like truly the last seconds. I don't want to even say how much value I burned, but I won the number one Wemby legendary moment, which is also his jersey. So I've got the jersey and the number one, and that thing to me it's like priceless. It record, for those that don't know about NBA Top Shot, it's actually recording sort of like the actual events of a game. And in this case, it was his 5x5 game against the Lakers, where he got 5 different categories where he had at least 5 registered points. So it was like steals, assists, blocks, rebounds, and points. And it's a crazy, crazy collectible for me. So that's the one.
That's an awesome one. Yep. And to explain a little bit more too, I don't know if John, if you're familiar with the digital and the Top Shot stuff with the burn board. Basically, it's just like it's a leaderboard that they sometimes run that you could win exclusive collectibles. And in that case, you'd have to
destroy. You have to give up and destroy what you have.
Get rid of all your collectibles, and those whoever ends up at the top of that list,
Leap of faith.
New collectible. So a lot of investment, a lot of past purchases. You just wish them away. That's it. They just disappear. But you get the new collectible in order to to lock up that leaderboard. Yeah. So that's what the burn boards are over at NBA Top Shot. But I know you haven't seen anything like that physically, right? I don't know if you did any trade-ins.
I don't know if I could do it physically. That would be I don't even digitally. It's got to be tough. You got to have some intestinal fortitude to.
Well, the good news,
John, to cross that line.
The good news is only the winner has to burn their moments, their assets. So like you don't lose them and take the faith.
Yeah.
But once you win, they're gone. And there was a lot of time, money, effort, sweat put into like getting that collection built, and then sent them off to the ether. But I do have this one thing now that represents for me my entire season of collecting, and it's really special.
That is cool. That is
awesome. Cool. Awesome, Scotty. And John, what's the one you're taking to out of space here? What are we bringing?
Yeah, mine's easy. Growing up a Brooklyn kid, and this athlete passed away actually a month before I was even born myself. But he is a legend, whether you're from Brooklyn or not from Brooklyn. Growing up in Brooklyn, I learned a lot about him. My dad grew up in going to games in Ebbets Field and handed down the stories of watching him play and getting to meet him. And, what he meant off the field was probably even more than what he meant on the baseball field. And that's Jackie Robinson. So I'm a Jackie Robinson guy, to the point teachers growing up in school, teachers said you can't keep doing essays and book reports on Jackie Robinson. John, pick somebody else. We got a new rule. We love Jackie too, but pick another famous person to do a report or speech about. So, well, for me, Jackie Robinson's that guy, and I have some of his cards, but for many years, his rookie card kind of eluded me. It's a 1948-49 Leaf, depending on who you talk to. And I had opportunities to purchase it, Paulie, Scotty, and I always, I'll get it another time. Well, that card kept going up, and another time became more difficult than I anticipated. And a few years ago, I think it's 3 years now, I had a couple good. I set up at shows as a dealer. I had a run of 3 shows that I did that were off the charts, good, and I'm like, now's the time to get that card in my collection. Because if I don't do it now, it's just not going to happen. I'll have to be comfortable with that either way. So here it is.
Nice.
Oh my gosh,
that's awesome.
This is my Grail. Never,
that's
not going to be sold. When I go, it'll be left to my son along with other stuff. And I even told my son, I don't care so much what you do with the other stuff, but when it comes to this card, I really want I want it to kind of stay in the family. So you hand it down, and the same thing, just keep that sort of just the one, and that's the only card I would make that ultimatum with. Everything else is your discretion and that sort of thing. And so for me, that's just the when I think about the journey, how long it took to get it. Is it valuable? Yes, but for me, it's more than even the dollar signs. Is that nice too? Sure, man. Maybe you appreciate it a little bit more. And I remember when I got it, and I used obviously my own money to purchase it. And my wife knows what I do, but she doesn't know the cards like maybe we do. And I showed it to her, and she knew what Jackie meant to me. And she goes, "Man, can I ask you what that costs?" And I'm like, "You can." And when I told her, her jaw hit the floor.
We're having a staycation this summer, honey. That's it. Blowing up the pool in the backyard. This is it. Say goodbye to Florida.
Yeah, but she didn't understand how one piece of cardboard could be worth that much. And I explained to her that at any point, if I wanted to sell it, it's like putting money in the bank. Because anytime I just wanted to turn around and sell it, which I'm not going to, but hypothetically, I can get the money back out of it. It's just the money's in a different form now. It's not like it's gone. You go into a restaurant, you order steak, might be a great steak, but it's gone, right? And it's not, and the money's gone too. Cards, digital assets, right? They're in different forms of currency. So they're not gone. You've just put your money into that form. And so when I explained it to her on those terms, she understood it a bit more. Not her thing, obviously, not something she's going to do or has any interest in. Made her feel a little bit better that, when she heard the amount and she thought that was just a one way, it goes out and never comes back necessarily.
John,
that's my plan.
You're the master, man. I'm taking notes right now. This is going into the John Newman master class.
You do it. I think I don't know if I'm someone called me an expert. I know Paulie mentioned professional. I'll never use that myself. I just say experience, right? You do something for 40-something years, you pick stuff up along the way, you learn. I made mistakes, right? How do I know things? Because I failed at them at the beginning, or not even just at the beginning, but at different points, right? And that's how you learn. That's how you gain knowledge. And so when someone puts that title like expert professional, while I appreciate it and I'm flattered, it's more, I like to use the word experience. And that sort of thing.
This is the team here when we want to start the sports card 401k. All right, we're gonna send your investments right out of your paycheck, and we purchase collectibles for you. I mean, it's basically the same thing. Assets to assets. I think the future on this is looking upwards and looking better than some other investments. So I mean, when that comes to the Sports Card 401k program, John, you got to be the lead on this. All right, I'm coming to you, and
I'll say this: I think I do okay. I'll just put it.
All right,
that'll be as cocky as I get. I think I do all right.
Awesome. Well, I appreciate it, guys. Thank you so much. It's a great episode of What Do You Collect? Stay tuned for more, some of these fun stories and just all the sports collecting and collectibles out there. And we're going to try to tap into everything. So thank you and keep watching.